जय श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकथा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सगणगणनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी श्रीराधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। मुखं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्येश्वरम्। So today we are reading 3:28:41 Bhagavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Devaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Bhutendriyantakaranaat pradhanam jiva samhitat atma tata pritagdrashta atma tata pritagdrashta Bhagavan Brahma Samhita Bhutendriyantakarana Pradhanam Jiva Samhita Atma Tata Pritagdrashta Bhagavan Brahma Samhita. Anyone want this? The five elements, Indriya, the senses, Antahakaranat, from the mind, Pradhanat, from the Pradhan, Jiva Samgitat, from the Jiva soul, Atma, the Param Atma, Tatha, so, Prithak, different, Drashta, the seer, Bhagavan, the personality of Godhead, Brahma Samgitaha, called Brahman. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Abhay Charanarinda Bhakti Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation: the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is known as Parabrahma, is the seer. He is different from the Jiva soul or individual living entity, who is combined with the senses, the five elements, and consciousness. Purport: a clear conception of the complete whole is given herewith. The living entity is different from the material elements. The supreme living entity, the personality of Godhead, who is the creator of the material elements, is also different from the individual living entity. This philosophy is propounded by Lord Chaitanya as Achintya Bheda Veda Tattva. Everything is simultaneously one with and different from everything else. The cosmic manifestation created by the Supreme Lord by his material energy is also simultaneously different and not different from him. The material energy is not different from the Supreme Lord, but at the same time, because that energy is acting in a different way, it is different from him. Similarly, the individual living entity is one with and different from the Supreme Lord. This simultaneously one and different philosophy is the perfect conclusion of the Bhagavad school as confirmed here by Kapilaji. Living entities are compared to the sparks of a fire as stated in the previous verse. Fire, flame, smoke, and firewood are combined together. Here the living entity, the material elements, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead are combined together. The exact position of the living entities is just like that of the sparks of a fire. They are part and parcel. The material energy is compared to the smoke. The fire is also part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. In the Vishnu Puran, it is said that whatever we see or experience, either in the material or spiritual world, is an expansion of the different energies of the Supreme Lord. As fire distributes its light and heat from one place, the Supreme Personality of Godhead distributes its different energies all over his creation. The four principles of the Vaishnava philosophic doctrine are Shuddha Dvaita, purified oneness, Dvaita Dvaita, simultaneous oneness and difference, Vishishta Advaita, and Dvaita. All four principles of Vaishnava philosophy are based on the thesis of Srimad Bhagavatam explained in these two verses. Again, Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnanajana Shalakaya Chakshurumritamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So it's a very, very wonderful purport by Srila Prabhupada. Again, the translation goes, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is known as Parabrahma, is the seer. He is different from the Jiva soul or individual living entity, who is combined with the senses, the five elements, and the consciousness. So I have no qualification to speak on Srimad Bhagavatam, but hopefully by the presence of all the devotees here, in the presence of Srila Prabhupada, I can speak something which is useful. So, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the seer. So that's the first point, that Krishna is the seer, Sadhu is the seer, Guru is the seer, and we are meant to be seen by them. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur mentioned that we don't come before the Lord thinking that we can see the Lord, but we come before the Lord to be seen by the Lord. And it's wonderful that it's mentioned that he is different from the Jiva soul or the individual living entity. So Krishna and us living entities, we are different. And that's why we can have a loving relationship. In one of the five rasas, we can have a loving relationship. And it's also mentioned that how the individual living entity is combined with the senses, the five elements, and consciousness, which means we are different from the senses, we are different from the five elements, which refers to this material body. We are different from from the mind, intelligence, and ego. We are different. We are the spirit soul. So, as a spirit soul, we have one property, just like there's a property of ice is solid, water is liquid. Similarly, the spirit soul has a property, and that property is the spirit soul has a capability, has a potential to give love and to receive love. And this love, the spirit soul is situated in Sachin Ananda, is situated in eternity, full of knowledge and full of bliss. So it has the potential to experience loving exchange with the Supreme Lord, which is never ending, which is causeless. Real love is causeless, and that causeless love has been given to us, has been propounded by Lord Chaitanya in the chanting of the holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare. So this purport, in the first part of the purport, Srila Prabhupada is speaking about how Lord Chaitanya propounded this Achinta Veda Tattva, that everything is simultaneously one and different. And this is the perfection. Because the living entity is qualitatively one with the Supreme Lord and at the same time quantitatively different from the Supreme Lord. And Srila Prabhupada says in one purport to Srimad Bhagavatam that the real mercy of Krishna is that Krishna, although Krishna does not need to, but Krishna depends on his devotees. And just like in devotional life, especially in student life, and everyone is a student, even a spiritual master also considers himself a student of his spiritual master. So in student life, uh, brahmachari life, the understanding is that our happiness lies in dependence. Real happiness lies in depending. So the more and more we depend, the more and more we get spiritual happiness, we get bliss, we get taste in Krishna consciousness. Naham Vipro Nachanarapatir Napi Vaishna Shudro. Naham Parti Nacha Grihapatir No Vanasto. Etirvakinta Prodhe Nikla Paramanda Purnamritapti Gopi Bhartu Padkamaya Dasa Dasami Dasa. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu makes this point that we are not a Brahmana, not a Vaishya, not a Shudra, not a Kshatriya, not a Brahmachari, not a Grasta, not a Vanaprastha, not a Sannyasi, but we are just Gopi Bhartu Padakamalaya Das Dasami Dasa. We are just the servant of the servant of the servant of the servant of Krishna. That is our new position. That's where the real happiness lies. And Srila Prabhupada also says that the more and more we go lower and lower, lower and lower and lower, become the servant of the servant of the servant of the servant of the servant, the more and more we become perfect. So Real happiness lies in dependence. Real happiness lies in surrender. So surrender, this whole process of Krishna consciousness is simply meant to bring us to the point of full surrender. My revered spiritual master one time said that mm, one fine day will come after so many years we are taking darshan of the deities, we are chanting the holy name, we are hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, etc., etc. But finally, one day will come when we will actually be able to go in front of Krishna and say that Krishna, all these years, all these days, I have been doing all these activities, but now finally I have the courage, I have the desire, sincere desire to surrender unto your lotus feet. So this surrender is not just a sentiment or a feeling, but Srila Prabhupada says there's a qualification. So the first qualification for surrender is actually humility. So the first thing is to become very meek and humble. Only by becoming meek and humble can we actually see. Can we see the Supreme Lord? Can we see the devotees? Can we see the good qualities? Can we see um, the moods of the devotees? Only by mood of humility. That's why Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he actually reversed the order given by Rupa Goswami, that the first set of songs written by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, which is Sharanagati, is called Dayanya. Dayanya means humility. And in the first song by Bhaktivinoda Thakur is mentioned that song Amar Jiva, that he is actually speaking about he in his own natural Krishna conscious humility. He's praying to the Lord, and at the same time, by Krishna's divine inconceivable arrangement, that prayer is also very valuable for us. So, in that, he's speaking about by Krishna's mercy, he is revealing the faults of the living entities. Like one of the faults he says is living entities become happy and others distressed. Living entities are lazy, living entities are envious, living entity, so many things. It speaks about the qualities of conditioned soul. So that's the first qualification of surrender. The first qualification is humility. Then the next thing Bhaktivinoda Thakur says is to surrender completely. And here it's the example is given of Bali Maharaj. That how Bali Maharaj, when Vaman Dev occupied his entire territory, Bali Maharaj completely surrendered himself. And even though Vaman Dev humiliated him in front of his citizens and so on and so forth, he maintained his full surrender unto the Supreme Lord. Then the third thing Bhaktivinoda Thakur says is to be firmly convinced of Krishna's protection. Etam sa ashtaya paratmanishtam adhyasnam purvatamair maharshivi aho tarishyami durantaparam tamo mukundam grini sevaiva. That to be firmly convinced that the lotus feet of Krishna will protect me and will take me across this ocean of material existence. Why? Because so many acharyas, so many pure devotees, they have uh, taken this boat, they have used this boat of Krishna's lotus feet to successfully cross this material existence. And this boat is such a boat that even though they have used the boat to cross the ocean of material existence and go to the other side, the side of liberation, the spiritual world, but Krishna is so merciful that the boat is still available to us to board the boat and go to the other side and to the spiritual world. So to be firmly convinced that Krishna will protect us, then to be firmly convinced that Krishna is our only maintenance and master. to accept Krishna as our only maintainer and master. So it's a very deep point. So only when one depends on Krishna day after day, month after month, can one realize this thing. It's not an overnight realization. But day after day, as you serve the Lord, as you depend on the Lord more and more and more, slowly and slowly we realize that Krishna is our only maintainer and master. Because ultimately, the most important thing in our life is our mind. Prabhupada is so emphatic about this point that Prabhupada says that our material reality is created by our mind. It's amazing. Yesterday I was reading Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada is saying that whatever we see in this world, we see this is our mother, this is our father, this is etc. etc. It's all created by our mind. Basically, the material conception is created by our mind. And who is the ultimate controller of the mind? Krishna. Rishikena Rishikesa Sivana Bhakti. So we don't understand how much Krishna is protecting our mind, how much Krishna is helping us, even though we are very disturbed, even though we may be very agitated at times. But it's only because of Krishna's mercy that our mind is creating by Krishna's grace, even though our mind may not be pure, but because of Krishna giving us the remembrance, the appropriate remembrance and forgetfulness, at least we are in the association of devotees. At least we are chanting the whole thing. Krishna is giving that protection to us, and we see that sometimes when Krishna's mercy flows, the mind becomes so powerful that the mind is able to remember the qualities, the pastimes of the Lord. So this is Krishna's supreme mercy. And when Krishna inspires us from within the heart to practice Krishna consciousness, to chant the holy name with enthusiasm, that is the greatest protection, that is the greatest maintenance. We should pray for that maintenance, that Krishna, please, may my mind always be engaged in your devotional service. That's the only thing we need to keep checking, that how much our mind is engaged in the service of the Lord. The more we can absorb our mind in the service of the Lord, the more and more there is a good chance that our love for Krishna, our attraction to Krishna will become manifest. It's a very simple principle. The more and more you think of Krishna, the more and more you become attracted to Krishna. You may or may not realize it, but it is for sure. This attraction may not come today, it will come tomorrow, it will come after 1 week. But the more and more we think of Krishna, the more and more we force our mind to contact Krishna in the form of name, form, qualities, pastimes, it is for sure, 100% sure that we will get hiatus. So this is the only thing we have to see, that how much Krishna is helping me, how much Krishna is allowing me to engage my mind in service. Like we can check our mind, I'm speaking to myself, when we see something in this world, we can see what kind of thoughts we get. If Krishna protects us, if Krishna inspires us within the heart, whatever we see, we'll see everything related to Krishna. At least, and we may not have the vision of the pure devotees, but at least, whatever, for example, we see some color, we see some cloth, immediately you remember, okay, this cloth is used as a turban cloth for their lordships. Or we remember some, we see a tree and we see, oh, Kalpalukshan Vrindavan. We hear some music and say, oh, Krishna plays flute. So small things, but this shows that Krishna is actually, he is the supreme maintainer and master. Because in our mind, if we start desiring, seriously desiring material enjoyment, then for sure the material nature will give us material enjoyment and will fall down for sure. So Krishna is actually maintaining us, Krishna is protecting us. Krishna is the supreme maintainer and protector. Then these last two things are very important. To accept everything that is favorable and to reject everything unfavorable to the Lord. One time His Holiness Chandramani Maharaj was saying that as devotees, we do what is favorable, but we fail to neglect what is unfavorable. So a devotee has to have a very, very strong, sharp discrimination. And this strong, sharp discrimination is the mercy of the Lord. Because we may have the knowledge, we may have the understanding, but the inspiration, the intensity of our desire determines everything. And every moment, Krishna within the heart, Guru within the heart, they're constantly checking us, checking what is the desire, what is the desire, what do you want, what do you want, what do you want. They're constantly measuring us. And the only thing we have to become, actually, we have to become natural version. We just have to be very honest with Krishna. Krishna, I'm struggling. I don't even have the desire to serve you. Please help me. Please help me. So if we simply keep uttering this prayer within the core of the heart, crying and praying for mercy, we will for sure progress in Krishna consciousness. Because at the end of the day, our situation is quite pathetic in my situation. Because Krishna knows what is our capability. Krishna knows what we can do. Krishna knows our mind, Krishna knows our samskaras, Krishna knows everything. So all we have to do is we have to pray and cry for His mercy. And the example is like very wonderful example is what Saladar Maharaj mentioned. It's just like the mother of a thief crying. So the mother of a thief, she cannot cry in public. Because if she cries in public, then everyone will criticize her. Everyone will laugh at her. That, why you crying this? Tell your son to stop committing these sinful activities. So she has to close the door when nobody is speaking and she has to cry. So in the same way, this is like our situation, that the instruments, our mind, our intelligence, they are a reflection of our previous material samskaras, and they are not going to help us to attain Krishna's lotus feet. So the only hope for us is causeless mercy. The moment we become situated, we have the unflinching faith that we are 100% dependent on Krishna's causeless mercy. Then at that moment we will attain Krishna's protection. Because the real mercy of Krishna, the real mercy of the spiritual master is revealed in the heart. It's not an intellectual exercise, but it's something which is revealed in the heart. So, just having this unflinching faith is the mercy of the Lord. And we have to constantly pray to Krishna, to Guru, to have this unflinching faith. When we have unflinching faith in the words, then we immediately come to the platform of acceptance. We immediately accept. Like we can check ourselves many times when we hear lectures. Most of the time, speak for myself, I'm just on the mental platform, which means we're just hearing it, but we're not accepting it because we're not attracted to it. But when Guru and Krishna's mercy will be there, we'll be attracted, we'll accept immediately. And when we start accepting immediately, we'll immediately get realization. For sure, 100%. I mean, I'm speaking with a little realization that as soon as we accept within the core of the heart, immediately we start offering prayer. Like, for example, the spiritual master says that we have to chant offenselessly. And we immediately become attracted that, yes, this is the goal of my life. And then we see that we're not chanting. So immediately we offer prayer from within the core of the heart that Krishna, please help me, please help me, please help me. And that prayer will be so intense and so heartfelt that Krishna will help us. Krishna will immediately reciprocate with us. Just a moment, just one prayer, genuine prayer is enough for us to make advancement, to make progress for the next week, for the next month. It's so powerful. But that one prayer should be heartfelt. So these are 6 aspects of surrender that we have to be very, very careful, and we have to constantly check what is favorable and what is not favorable. What is favorable for me today may not be favorable for me tomorrow. Why? Because I'm making progress. I want to make progress. Therefore, I want to control my senses, control my mind more and more. It's not the same. So it's our own responsibility to become stricter and stricter and stricter with ourselves. And see, the goal of our spiritual life is to upload spontaneous devotion. What is spontaneous devotion? Spontaneous devotion means the willingness, the desire to go to any extent for Krishna's happiness. So, like for example, six Goswamis, it's mentioned that the way they used to follow the rules and regulations was like lines on a stone. They were so strict. So, if you read about their sadhana, their devotional activities in the Shad Goswami Ashtakam, we see that how they perform so many limbs of bhakti, so many limbs. They paid so many obeisances, they chanted so many rounds, they studied so many scriptures, they worship deities. So actually they followed more rules and regulations than the common devotee. So the more and more we come in contact with exalted devotees, this is a very important point. Just like I quoted that Lord Chaitanya said that we are not a Brahmana, we're not a Vaishnava, Shudra, we're not a Brahmachari. So we have to look for bhakti. We have to look for devotees who have bhakti, and we should not be unnecessarily proud or puffed up, thinking that we are so advanced. Oh, this devotee is junior. This devotee is only there in the movement for 1 year, 2 years. This devotee is only first initiated. Oh, this devotee is a grihastha, I'm a brahmachari, etc., etc. So if we confine in our mind in that material way, then we will not be able to get Krishna's mercy. Bhaktivinoda Thakur used to say, after Bhaktivinoda Thakur left this world, different people used to come to him and then he would tell his disciples that, oh, today Bhaktivinoda Thakur came to this person. Oh, today Lord Krishna Maharaj came to this person. So this is the vision of a sincere devotee, and in that way we can get the mercy of the devotees. We can learn from the devotees. Everyone can help us. Everything can help us, and that's why we see the example of the Avanti Brahmana or exalted devotees that they see their Guru everywhere. They see the mercy of the Lord. They see the voice of the Lord everywhere. Like Srila Prabhupada. One time, one doctor, specialist or anything, told Srila Prabhupada that Prabhupada, you should go, Swami, you should go for a walk every day. Why don't you go for a walk? And the devotee said, no, actually, sorry. The doctor said, Swami, you should go for walking every day. You pray too much. And the devotees were upset. And how can you tell our Guru? Who are you to tell our Guru? Prabhupada said, no, Krishna is beautiful. Krishna is beautiful. And as a result of that, the morning walks, because of that, we have such profound information that Prabhupada did not give in his lectures, did not give in his books, such profound nectar. So the mercy, that is the mercy of Krishna. And you see the pure devotee sees Krishna everywhere. So we are sparks. We are infinitesimal part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. So our goal of life is simply to engage in the service of the Lord. How can we engage in the service of the Lord? The desire to serve, Prabhupada says, comes by sincere hearing and chanting. So we should look at it like this. Seva is very important and sadhana is very important. Seva is the place where we can see how is our sadhana. Actually, if we are very scrutinizing, the amount of revelation we get during seva shows what is the quality of our sadhana. We should remember that our service in this world, whatever it may be, is ultimately a prototype or a reflection of the service in Golok Vrindavan or Golok Vrindavan. Whatever service it may be. But it's not about the service so much, but it's about the level of revelation. So if our service is not there, if suppose we're not feeling so enthusiastic to serve, we're not feeling so inspired to serve, we're not feeling enthusiastic, we're not feeling confident, we're not patient in our service. I'm speaking for myself. Then we have to go back to our sadhana and see what's wrong, what's wrong. And we have to constantly engage ourselves in hearing and chanting. Whatever we be doing, whatever search we be doing, we have to ensure that transcendent sound vibration is going into our ear. His Holiness Satyendra Maharaj quotes this that Prabhupada, I read this. Prabhupada's words are just too amazing, and I mean, even if you spend half an hour, little time reading Prabhupada's, studying Prabhupada's purport with a surrendered heart, with a sincere heart, then you see like how much nectar Srila Prabhupada has given. And Prabhupada has condensed all the previous acharyas' realizations into his purports. And that's why just by reading Prabhupada's purports, we can access unlimited amount of realizations by, by his grace. So coming back to the point, so our hearing and chanting is very, very important. And that's why Prabhupada said, quotes, that if we are feeling our services hackneyed, hackneyed means if we are bored with our service, then we should know that we're serving materially, we're not serving spiritually. If we're serving spiritually, every day will be newer and newer and newer. Every day. Like you see Radha Govinda at least by Prabhupada's mercy, where we have some mercy to see them. So we never, I mean, at least I don't think anyone of this room thinks that, oh, I've taken darshan so many times, why should I take darshan? No, every time we see them, it's different, it's new. They have a different expression. So that shows that if we want to have such an experience, like we should always remember that Srila Prabhupada set the ultimate example for us to follow Krishna consciousness. Although Srila Prabhupada is a pure devotee, Srila Prabhupada is from the spiritual world, but he set the standard for us. You see how much time Srila Prabhupada spent taking darshan of the deities. That shows that how much Prabhupada is the derivation. So there are many wonderful examples in the lives of our previous acharyas, in the lives of great saints, on how to practice Krishna consciousness. Because ultimately, philosophy is important. We should not be lazy in understanding philosophy. But what is very, very important for us to make progress, especially from Srimad Bhagavatam, is to understand how devotees attain perfection and take in our own life and see how we can implement that. So this is a very common part of Bhagavatam. We have uh, so many times heard about this. But we will briefly discuss uh, how Dhruva Maharaj actually attained perfection. Narad Muni attained perfection. So Narad Muni is speaking to Vyasadeva in the first canto, Srimad Bhagavatam. And I thought of reading some qualities of Narad Muni to teach us how to attain perfection, or how we can be on the path to attain perfection. So this is about Narad Muni speaking about his behavior. Now, this is the same case, it's very important. Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami. Before they came to Lord Chaitanya, we should know that their character, their personality they were already pure. Now, when I speak about purity, I'm not just speaking about no anarthas, etc., but I'm speaking about the way they would conduct themselves. So, Narad Muni is saying about himself, I was very much attached to those sages. I was gentle in behavior. All my sins were eradicated in their spirit. Yeah, I was gentle in behavior. And all my sins were eradicated in their service. In my heart, I had strong faith in them. I had subjugated the senses, and I was strictly following them with body and mind. So Narad Muni is speaking about, as when he saw those sages, when he contacted those sages, what was the heart transformation that happened? Now, in the previous verse or in the previous stanza, yeah, Narada Muni is speaking about his qualification, that he was self-controlled, he was not naughty, and he would not speak more than required. Now, this one quality, this is my personal realization, is the most important in Krishna consciousness. The most important quality in Krishna consciousness is speech. That's why Rupa Goswami starts with Vachuveka. Somehow, if we can control this speaking tendency, we will make a lot of progress. If we are careful about two things, about what we speak, of course, what we hear, and what we eat, we make a lot of progress in bhakti. You just see yourself when you eat something from somewhere which may not be from a devotee or may not be from a serious devotee, you eat something, you see after some time, you won't see immediately, but you see after 2 days that the quality of determination is going down. And it's very, very subtle. So when the determination was not slowly, what was not acceptable at one point becomes acceptable today. For example, in the morning I make a vow. Today I have to hear Srila Prabhupada, I have to hear Guru. If you associate, if you speak with non-devotees or not serious, you see after a few hours the mind will say, it's okay. So, okay. So this is the way we see that determination slowly goes down. And determination is the only culprit. Because of a lack of determination, because of a lack of enthusiasm, Krishna does not make arrangement. Because Krishna is making arrangement for everyone to fulfill all their desires. Why won't Krishna fulfill our desires? Simply because our desire is not strong. So these qualities are very, very important. Very, very important. That the first thing is to be disciplined. Yeah. So discipline, Prabhupada speaks about discipline, starts with the morning program. So the more and more we can attend the Mangalarti, the morning program, that will build our discipline. At least we can make use of the mode of goodness. Mode of goodness is prevalent in the morning time. At that time, whatever desires we have, whatever devotional practices we cultivate will be with us. Sometimes you may have experienced also these desires, these strong desires that we develop in the morning time. Sometimes may come in dreams, may come in different ways. That's very good. That's very good because ultimately we have to prepare ourselves for death. And then death, whatever impressions we have, that's what we call. Whatever impressions we are building up, we're working on, is what is going to come at the point of death. So it's very, very important. And then this first verse, as we make more and more progress, the first verse of nectar of instruction becomes deeper and deeper and deeper. Like Narottam Das Thakur says in one of his songs, Narottam Das Thakur says, worship Krishna, here is pastimes and meditate on him. To do anything else is to plunge a spear in your own heart. So this is his level of strictness. And he says another song that I don't talk about anything other than Krishna. I don't talk about anything, I don't hear anything other than Krishna. And you see Prabhupada says, what is controlling the tongue? I will only speak about Krishna, I won't speak about anything else. So this is the standard. So Vacho Vegam, I spoke, Manasa Krodha Vegam. Narottam Das Thakur says, don't get angry unnecessarily, don't find fault with others. Be attentive to your own devotional service. So how do we control anger? The way we control anger is by being conscious of our own devotional practice. That hey, I have to make a lot of progress. I don't have much time. So let me not waste time by disturb. When we become angry, we disturb ourselves and the other person also. So anger. Jihva Vegam. Jihva Vegam is the first. Vach Vegam is Prabhupada speaks about speech and Jiva speaks about eating. So jiva vidam udara upastavya. So if you control the jiva, if you control what you eat, then you can control the belly, you can control the genitals. So the more and more we work on this in our own life, the more and more we can first of all make our mind our disciple. So we have to make our mind our servant. The more and more we make our mind our servant in the service of the Lord, the more and more we will make spiritual progress. So that's why we have to be very, very strict with our sadhana. That we're chanting the holy name, we are hearing the glories of the Lord, we are maintaining a humble attitude in front of devotees. This is very, very important. Very, very important. So coming back to Narad Muni. So Narad Muni had strong faith in them. He was very attached to them. So this is very important. We can measure in our heart how much are we attached to Srila Prabhupada, how much are we attached to Guru. And we can see the speaking about myself again, that how much I'm willing to sacrifice. You know, like if there is a choice, if there is an opportunity that should I speak more or should I go and serve? Should I eat more or should I take the opportunity to go and serve the devotees? Do I have more desire to eat myself or do I have more desire to feed others? So these small, small, simple, simple points show that how much we're attached to Srila Prabhupada. Because being attached to him means being attached to his instructions. Like his father Gaurav Maharaj, he would not eat anything, he would not drink anything until he would finish, I think, like at least 15 pages of translation. And on days like festival days, he would give class, he would lead the program. There would be no time because he would be busy in the program. So he would start translating at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. And by the time we finish translating, he would be late. He would not eat anything. He would take rest, no eating anything. So, of course, this is a level to aspire for. But this builds this mamatva, this deep attachment. Because the more and more we build this attachment to the previous acharyas, it's very, very beneficial for us. Because if we simply pray to the previous acharyas, if we simply pray for their mercy, cry for their mercy, we will make a lot of progress. I mean, it seems very easy, it seems very simple, but although it's very simple and easy, speaking for myself, I don't do it. I don't do it. But anyone you see in our Krishna conscious movement, you see how deeply attached they are to the previous acharyas. So crying and praying for their mercy is very important. One devotee was telling me that he just prayed to Sanatana Goswami that he wanted to join full time. He just prayed very simply for 5 days. And after 5 days, he joined the ashram. I mean, of course, it's not a, kind of, I recommend, I'm not trying to shake anyone or disturb anyone's condition right now. I'm just speaking about the mercy. And yeah, I'll just read this. This is by Srila Prabhupada again. Prabhupada is speaking about what is the power of crying for the Lord's mercy. So here the context is Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, 4th chapter, 35th verse. That how Vidura started crying loudly as he was remembering Krishna. This is the last line in the word Prabhupada is saying. This crying is the last word in the progressive path of devotional service. One who can cry for the Lord in love is certainly successful in the line of devotional service. So you may not be able to cry to the Lord for the Lord's mercy. You may not be able to do that. You're not so attracted. But definitely we can cry for one thing. What is that thing? We can cry for the mercy of the previous acharyas. So the more and more we work on our own desires, we don't cultivate any separate desire for ourselves. and we pray to the previous acharyas, what will happen is their desires will become reflected in our heart. For example, say that Srila Prabhupada had a desire to um, say do a lot of youth preaching. And because of Prabhupada's lack of time and Prabhupada's responsibilities, Prabhupada could not invest as much time as he wanted. Therefore, that desire became reflected in the heart of, for example, Ravi Shankar. So, in this way, we will get responsibility, we will get inspiration from the previous acharyas, from the gurus, and that will become our life and soul. So, this is the power of crying, this is the power of praying for their mercy. Like when I joined full time, one devotee told me when I was going to join, the devotee told me that you think you're leaving your family? No. This is your real family. Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, Srila Prabhupada, Panchatattva. This is the real family. So, for us to actually make progress in bhakti, we have to consider them like that. As well as Gaurav Maharaj says, unless we put Guru and Krishna on the platform of love, we cannot get rid of material bondage. So, yeah, it's very important for us to develop attachment to the previous acharyas. Very important. That's why we have so many days, numerous days of the previous acharyas for this purpose, is to pray and cry for the mercy. And that's why Srila Prabhupada took so much trouble to give us the songs, songs of Bhakti, even compose the songs that we can become attracted to them, we can pray to them. And last but not least, our greatest hope, our greatest aspiration is the mercy of devotees. And the more and more we hear from devotees, hearing from devotees is extremely important. The more and more we hear from devotees about the rules of about the attraction. We see many times that devotees speak exactly what is relevant to us, exactly what we need to hear, exactly what we need to do to control the senses. Devotees speak that. Devotees speak that. Devotees arrange for us to make progress. So we just have to choose at least one person in our present condition to whom we can submit, we can depend, we can listen to that one person. This is the authority of Shiksha Guru, and try to please that person, try to serve that person. Just, and most important thing is that many people they accept authority, they accept Shiksha Guru, but they don't hear from that person. So if you don't hear from that person, then you won't get that person's full mercy. Because if you don't hear from someone, how will you understand their mood? Many times when we speak casually, when we senior devotees, and we should, natural feelings like, oh, get this, get that, you know, get water. Many times we're not able to see the dignity of that personality fully in that relationship, in that conversation. But when you hear from that person regularly, then you can see the depth of the revelation. And actually, the purpose of any authority in Shiksha Guru is by their own personal example to promote you to that platform of realization. That is the purpose. That is the purpose. So we have to take advantage. We have to hear. It's not just enough to hear from Guru, from great persons, but we have to hear from Vaishnavas. We have to hear from devotees to whom we have faith in our present place. Otherwise, our surrender, speaking about surrender, our surrender is just mukhya boli. It's just lip service. That's it. Because what is the practical demonstration that we want to surrender? Like His Grace Guru says so many times, the Guru will never come and tell us to do this, to do that. Guru will never. So the authority, the present devotees who are in front of us, they will tell us. So if we are not willing to listen to them, we're not willing to serve them, then it's just fake. I mean, I should not say fake, but it's not complete, it's partial. So that's very, very important for us. Very, very important. All this knowledge that is spoken in Bhagavatam has to be experienced. You have to realize, you have to have deep desire. I want to realize this. And the key of realization is in the hand of the authority. How much they are pleased with us, at least how much we are striving to please them. Like Krishna knows how much integrity we may have, how much we're struggling, but in our heart we're striving to please them. That's very important. That's very important. So the ultimate purpose of this material creation is simply one thing, is to develop our loving relationship with Krishna, to be absorbed in a loving relationship with Krishna, to always think of Krishna, to never forget Krishna. That's the purpose for existence. That's why we hear this is called. Everything else is external. Everything else in this world is external. So we have to cultivate this consciousness day after day, month after month, year after year, by associating with devotees or situating this consciousness. That is essential. The quality of our association determines our progress. That's why we should be very careful who we speak to, who we interact with. Because whatever we speak, whatever we absorb, that determines the intensity of our Krishna consciousness. That's why you see Mahaprabhu's example. Mahaprabhu is to respect everyone, is to glorify everyone. We will only associate with Ram or Sita. So who is that devotee that we should associate to? The person who is sincerely trying to practice Nagari Sunichan, that person who is genuinely trying to humble the blade of grass, more tolerant than a tree, gives all respect to others in one planet. Such a devotee, you can be fully convinced, you can be fully sure that he is making steady progress in his Krishna consciousness, for sure. So that kind of devotee, that kind of this one person is trying to apply all good qualities manifest in that person. He's satisfied, he's simple, he's humble, he's focused, his senses are controlled. All good qualities manifest just by this one word. That's why this one word is so important in our Krishna consciousness. That's why Prabhupada said you have to move the garland of these words and wear it around your neck so that you can always remember it. So I'd like to end here. Please forgive us for being wrong and inappropriate. Vanchakalpataro Vishya Kripasmudhyamcha Vaidana Bhavana Vaishnava Antamoti Vaishnava Shila Prabhupada. Anyone has any question or comment? Who you would like to add anything? If nobody anyone has any question or comment online?
Thank you so much for the wonderful class, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Sham Kishore Prabhu. Wonderful class. Hare Krishna.
Wonderful.